I'm Ethan Moore from Stockroom Supply. Don't really know what to do a video on today, so what we're going to do is I'm going to spin around in circles with my eyes closed, and whenever Katie, who's behind the camera, tells me to stop, whatever I'm pointing at is what we're going to do a video on.
And also, I'm going to have my eyes closed.
So
I don't know what you're going to be pointing at. And then you leave your eyes closed.
Yep.
I'll open my eyes up, see where you're pointing, and I'll direct you to where you're going.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, go. Stop. Oh.
Right on Bandsaw? Is that what that means?
I think that's what that means.
Alright. So what I've decided to do is, and this is a question I get all the time, is I'm going to show you guys how to set up your bandsaw with a small blade, like 3/16 of an inch or less. Because it is actually something that's semi-challenging to do because they're very easy to wreck these blades, especially if you don't have your guide set up right or your tension set up right. Now I've already set up my tension, and the method I use is called the flutter method, and I've done a video on that in the past, and I'm going to link that up top here for you guys to see that. Really simple way to do it, and then I recommend you check the tension with a system or a method like that, because the tension gauge in these bandsaws are never accurate, and the tension is especially crucial, or it's crucial that you don't over tighten them, because a blade like this you can very easily break because there's not a lot of metal there. But the thing I'm going to show you that's really important with a blade like this as well is the guide setup. Okay, so it's especially important on this size bandsaw, the guides, and something that often will get overlooked is these side guides, how they're positioned according to that blade right now. Now if you look at that, those side bearings are basically, they're right up against the side of the teeth. That blade is totally encapsulated by those bearings, and we don't want that. If we have that set right there right now, what we're going to do is, we put any side pressure on that blade, we're going to flatten the teeth on that blade. So we got to make sure that we set these side guides back just behind the teeth here, and that's going to be the first setting that we do. Can you guys see that there? So you see how that blade is just behind the teeth on the flat right there. Okay, next thing we're going to do, if we flip all the way around so you can see the thrust bearing, is we got to make sure we have the thrust bearing set up. Now you can see I have it set way too far back, but what will often happen is guys will quickly set this up and there's going to be a pretty big space behind there. Now if you have too big a space like I do right now, what will happen is, again, that blade will get pushed back and into the side of your bearing, and that's going to flatten the teeth on your blade, and that blade is going to cut like garbage. Make sure, especially important on a little blade like this, that you have that thrust bearing. I need to open this up so I can see too. You have that thrust bearing set just behind the blade. Very little room for error here. Just behind the blade, so that you're not going to mess up the teeth on the side. So that right there, and then of course your side guides should be about a dollar bill thickness away from the blade. So the idea is, while you want that blade to be very close, the tolerance is to be very close, when you spin your top wheel, you shouldn't see any of the bearings moving. And the exact same process on the bottom, and make sure you do the bottom, because you can get the same problems with wrecking your blade by binding it in there just like that. Now if we back up a little bit, these right here, so it's very, very crucial to set these guides up right, because that's going to make all the difference in how long your blade is going to last and how well it's going to cut. One thing that I would always recommend, especially if you're using small blades, is cool blocks like this, or phenolic blocks. These are like a really hard plastic that's impregnated with graphite. So actually what you can do with these, you don't have to be as concerned about these side guides, because this can press right up against the side of your blade, right into the teeth, without damaging the set of that blade. So it makes setting up small blades much, much easier if you use cool blocks like that there. So yeah, let me quickly set up the bottom and I'll show you guys how this cuts here. Okay, a couple other little tips. When you're cutting with any blade, always make sure that you're pushing straight into the blade. Straight like that. And it's especially important on a little blade like this, but don't push like this or push like that. And I know you probably never, obviously I'm not going to do that, but sometimes when you're cutting a curve, that can happen. So you got to make sure that you're rotating your piece as you're cutting rather than pushing sideways on the blade. All right, let's make a little cut and I'll show you what I mean here. I don't have that hooked up anyway. So yeah. So rotate your piece of wood. You're going to be left with nice accurate cuts here. So yeah, that's what you could do with a little 3/16 blade like that. But the setup is very important on a small blade like that. So as long as you follow those few little tips, you're gonna get great results like that right there. And you shouldn't be breaking blades all the time, which is what will often happen with small blades like this. So yeah, if anybody else has any questions, you can email me at info@stockroomsupply.com or just comment on the video. Now, if you want to see future videos, make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell button. Thanks for watching.